Okay, so this is a video about why Judge Ross is an idiot. Okay, so I just watched watched one of his episodes, and there was a case of this man suing this other man. They're in a duplex, and an older gentleman suing a younger gentleman who is who's engaged in the porno industry, and he's a filmer for the porn industry, right? This guy went out of his way to try to put up insulation in his house to cut back the noise. And I'm sick and tired of hearing these cases brought up against people in apartments and duplexes where someone makes some noise and the other person sues and wins. Why is this happening? It's absolutely ridiculous. This other old man who's suing, was engaged in commerce in a residentially zoned building, just like the other person was engaged in commerce. He was engaged in making porno films, okay? And the other person was working from home as a phone receptionist or whatever, okay? So both of these people are engaged in commerce in a residential zone, and what this should have been was a wash, and they should have said no one gets anything. Verdict for the defendant is what it should have been. Verdict for the defendant. The defendant didn't sue back. He got the cops called on him multiple times. He didn't make videos past 10 o'clock at night because there's a noise ordinance past 10 o'clock at night. If you're in a duplex, you have to expect that other people are going to make noise. If you're in a residential neighborhood and you move into a residential neighborhood, your neighbors might make noise, and they have every right to make as much noise as they want all the way up until till the noise ordinance kicks in at 10 o'clock. And this guy literally stopped making noise past 10 o'clock. And this other man sued him for being a private nuisance, which makes absolutely no sense. Makes no sense at all, because both of these people are engaged in commerce. This other man was working in a residential zone engaged in commerce, and the other one was working in residential zone engaged in commerce. Both of this case should have been a wash, and it should have been in defendant. The defendant should have had the verdict in his favor, because he wasn't suing back. He wasn't suing in retaliation. Okay, so you see, and you hear him say how he stops doing it past 10 o'clock. He doesn't make any noise past 10. And this other person, he's like, I don't think the plaintiff is capable of being a reasonable neighbor and coming to an agreement. He's incapable of it, because past 10, he's like, well, that's when I sleep too. So you can't make noise during the day. You can't make noise during the night. You can't make noise during the weekends. And this motherfucker sues, and Judge Ross sides with this jackass. Sides with this total fucking jackass. He's the stupidest judge on the face of the earth. The dumbest judge I've ever fucking seen in my life. And he really needs to turn in his robes, step off the bench, and get off TV, because he's not a good judge. He's letting his emotions drive his verdicts instead of listening to the law and what the law has to say. And the law is the noise ordinance doesn't kick in until 10 o'clock. Okay? So you could say private nuisance. That doesn't make any logical sense. And then he says, well, I could see if there was any reasonable person would see this video and say, this is too much noise or whatever. No, and he's like, I can objectively say it. No, you could subjectively say that. You could subjectively say that's too much noise. He could have amplified the microphones on the device. It's ridiculous. He could have had a microphone right up to the top of the roof, sticking it up right up there to make it sound as loud as he possibly could. I mean, it's absolutely absurd that this judge ruled in favor of this piece of fucking crap who's engaged in commerce in a residential apartment, a residential duplex, and the other person was engaged in commerce too. It's a wash. Unless the guy was making videos past 10 o'clock at night where the noise ordinance kicks in, you have no reasonable expectation of there not being any noise during the day. You live in a duplex, okay? And I'm sick and tired of hearing these rulings from these crappy judges who don't know what the hell they're doing. And then people suing the wrong person. He shouldn't have been suing him. He should have sued the landlord of the building. He should have gone after him for not having proper insulation. There's not good enough insulation to keep the noise down from transferring from one side of the duplex to the other side of the duplex. That's not the fault of the person renting the duplex. And if you're just making money in the duplex, working from the duplex, then you're engaged in commerce. And if you're engaged in commerce, you don't have the same rights as a residential person does. You are engaged in commerce, and you are making money just like the other person was engaged in commerce and making money. So it was supposed to be a wash. That's what it was supposed to be. And any reasonable judge would have realized that this has to be a wash, and there's no other option. And that should have been the end of the case right then and there. Plaintiff's case dismissed. That's what it should have been. But he gave him $3,000. He was suing for $10,000, and they gave him $3,000. It's absolutely absurd. You had no right to be engaged in commerce in a residential zone. You don't. You don't have any right to do it. You don't have no right to engage in commerce in a residential zoned area. Okay? And if you are, and the other person is too, then it's a wash. That's how this goes. That's how the law works. Okay? So it's just absolutely insane. Judge Ross is a total idiot. He needs to take his robes off, turn them in, and get off TV. Okay? Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. And if you're new to this channel, you might want to subscribe. Otherwise, you'll never see this channel again. Because just by sheer miracle, you stumbled upon this channel. More than likely, the government's not going to let anyone see my videos. So there you go. I hope you all have a glorious, magnificent, wonderful, beautiful, awesome, amazing, incredible existence and time. And I will see you all around in the next video. Love you all. Bye.